going on, traders? This is Jack with the Trading Tribe. Welcome back to the channel where we are going to go through a couple really nice tips and tricks that have to do with ThinkorSwim and are things that have come into the application as of recent in 2025 and have made it a lot more user-friendly, at least for me. And I want to share these with you because they might help you as well. So starting with number one, ThinkorSwim now has the ability for futures traders like me to essentially have our positions, our average price, and our contract size, like we can see here, right in my live account, right? I have a trade put on in the NASDAQ futures market, and we can see, right, my entry was at 22,220, and I bought one contract. In the past, it was a little difficult to actually see that. You had to either open up the ladder or you had to go to the monitor tab to understand if you were in a trade or not. Now you actually can have that exposed on your chart by coming up here to the gear icon and then essentially having it to where it shows all positions. This used to only work for stocks, I believe, and now it works for everything, even options. So all asset classes are supported, and a really, really nice feature here as well. ThinkorSwim also added another thing kind of in this chart settings tab. If we switch over to the time axis part of the page here, we now have this new checkbox called Show Chart Navigator. And this is another feature that I really like. This actually makes that scroll bar at the bottom that you see here on my chart. So a little bit more of a modern way to scroll. Right now we can see on this 1 minute, for example, right, I'm super zoomed in to kind of what's happening right here at the open, for example. And if I want to go back in time today or look at the overnight session, for example, in the past there was like this tiny little bar that you could use to do that. Now with this chart navigator, you can just click and drag it, and it's a lot bigger, it's a lot easier to select, and so kind of just an ease of use feature that I've really liked on the charts. Next, going over here to the left-hand side, right where I have my watch list, for example, we can see the columns that I have on my watch list. So used to have a lot less flexibility in terms of kind of what you could do in terms of columns. Now we actually can use this little gear icon in your watch list section to actually add really nice columns. And so now we have a bunch of new fields available, but we can bring in our average price for assets that we're trading. We can add in our position quantity, so we can see kind of how much we are in for each asset class. So if we jump over to natural gas, for example, right, we can really quickly see that natural gas chart and also monitor, right, that position as well. So really, really nice feature and something I've used quite a bit to be able to monitor all of that without having to go into the monitor tab. Next, up here at the top left, we also have some really nice new fields available. So we can see in terms of kind of standard fields about your account, right? We've always had net lick, cash and sweep, right? We've always had quite a bit there that we can add, but now we do have new fields that we can add as well. So we can have our P&L day. So for this entire account, we can see what we're up or down without having to go into the monitor tab, which used to be the only way to know that. And then same thing with on the year, right? We can see with this account how much we are currently up on the year. We can see all of that right directly here in the account info tab, and you can add these fields just by clicking this hamburger icon and then clicking on customize. And in this case, I just added those two fields. And then last but not least, right, this button kind of ribbon element here. I have another video on my channel for kind of how to create buttons in ThinkorSwim. So definitely watch that if you're curious on how to set this up. But now this also does allow for more buttons to be created. So in the past, I think it was limited to like 6 or 7 buttons. Now you can see, right, you can have really the entire button bar filled in. So I have tons of drawing tools here for quick access. And then I have tons of time frames and kind of indicator setups also here. And you can see it goes the entire ribbon now, so there is not a limit, right? It does allow you to fill that entire ribbon with kind of extra buttons essentially, so that it's a lot quicker than kind of coming up here and going into different time frames with multiple clicks, where we can have all of our time frames as just buttons, for example. And then actually one bonus item that is pretty helpful as well is up here at the top right hand corner of my screen, right? You can see I have this custom label here where I kind of define the futures contract I'm looking at, right? The tick size, tick value, point value, and then kind of how much I could risk in order to have about $1,000 of exposure. So just a custom kind of label. If you are using custom labels on your ThinkorSwim chart, now we actually can move those from kind of the left side to the right side, as well as we can make that font a little bit smaller. So in this case, right, I have a custom study within ThinkorSwim to add these labels in. This is the code, so really easy to do this yourself, right? You can just copy and paste this code, or you can just type it in. But basically, there is a new feature or property that you can add in to this add label feature that basically allows you to control how big it is. And if you do font size period small, that will basically decrease the size and then move it off to the right hand corner. So really, really helpful feature on kind of making that a little bit less noticeable and basically letting you focus on really what matters, which is the chart in this case. Hopefully this really helps. These are multiple things that I'm using within the application day to day that are brand new to ThinkorSwim. If these do help, feel free to hit the like and subscribe channel for a lot more content like this. Thanks everyone, and we will be back next time.